Cantos 14 to 20 of Book 5 of the Ramayana of Valmiki, translated by Ralph D. H. Griffith. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Om123. Canto 14. The Ashoka Grove. He cleared the barrier at a bound. He stood within the pleasant ground, and with delighted eyes surveyed the climbing plants and varied shade. He saw unnumbered trees unfold the treasures of their pendant gold, as searching for the Mytal Queen, he strayed through alleys soft and green. And when a spray he bent or broke, some little bird that slept awoke. Whenever the breeze of morning blew, wherever a startled peacock flew, the gaily coloured branches shed their flowery rain upon his head, that clung around the banner till he seemed a blossom-covered hill, the earth on whose fair bosom lay the flowers that fell from every spray was glorious as a lovely maid in all her brightest robes arrayed. He saw the breath of morning shake the lilies on the rippling lake, whose waves a pleasant lapping made on crystal steps with gems inlaid. Then roaming through the enchanted ground, a pleasant hill the banner found, and grottos in the living stone, with grass and flowery trees overgrown. Through rocks and boughs a brawling rill leapt from the bosom of the hill, like a proud beauty when she flies from her love's arms with angry eyes. He clomb a tree that near him grew, and leafy shade around him threw. Hence, thought the banner, shall I see the Mytal Dame, if here she be. These lovely trees, this cool retreat, will surely tempt her wandering feet. Here the sad queen will roam apart, and dream of Rama in her heart. Canto 15. Sita. Fair as Kailasha, wide with snow, he saw a palace flash and glow, a crystal pavement gem inlaid, and coral steps and colonnade, and glittering towers that kissed the skies, whose dazzling splendour charmed his eyes. There, pallid with neglected dress, watched close by fiend and giantess, her sweet face thin with constant flow of tears, with fasting and with woe. Pale as the young moon's crescent when the first faint light returns to man, dim as the flame when clouds of smoke the latent glory hide and choke. Like Rohini, the queen of stars, oppressed by the red planet Mars, from her dear friends and husband torn, amid the cruel fiends forlorn, who, fierce-eyed, watch around her kept, a tender woman sat and wept. Her sobs, her sighs, her mournful mien, her glorious eyes proclaimed the queen. This is she, the banner cried, fair as the moon and lotus-eyed. I saw the giant Ravan bear a captive through the fields of air. Such was the beauty of the dame, her form, her lips, her eyes the same. This peerless queen, whom I behold, is Rama's wife with limbs of gold. Best of the sons of man is he, and worthy of her lord is she. Canto 16. Hanuman's Lament. Then, all his thoughts on Sita bent, the banner chieftain made lament. The queen to Rama's soul endeared, by Lakshman's pious heart revered, lies here, for none may strive with fate, a captive sad and desolate. The brother's might full well she knows, and bravely bears the storm of woes. As swelling Ganga in the rains, the rush of every flood sustains. Her lord for her fierce Bali slew, Viradha's monstrous might overthrew. For her the 14,000 slain in Janastan bedewed the plain, and if for her Ikshaku's son destroyed the world, it were nobly done. This is she, so far renowned, who sprang from out the furrowed ground, child of the high-souled king whose sway the men of Mithila obey, the glorious lady wooed and won by Dasarath's noblest son. And now these sad eyes look on her, mid hostile fiends a prisoner. From home and every bliss she fled, by wifely love and duty led, and heedless of a wanderer's woes, a life in lonely forests chose. This is she, so fair of mould, whose limbs are bright as burnished gold, whose voice was ever soft and mild, who sweetly spoke and sweetly smiled. Oh, what is Rama's misery, how he longs to see his darling now, pining for one of her fond looks, as one athirst for water brooks. Absorbed in woe the lady sees no Rakshas god, no blooming trees. Her eyes are with her thoughts, and they are fixed on Rama far away. Canto 17. Sita's God. His pitying eyes with tears bedewed, the weeping queen again he viewed, and saw around the prisoner stand her demon god, a fearful band. Some earless, some with ears that hung low as their feet and loosely swung, some fierce with single ears and eyes, some dwarfish, some of monstrous size, some with their dark necks long and thin, with hair upon the knotty skin, some with wild locks, some bald and bare, some covered over with bristly hair, some tall and straight, some bowed and bent, with every foul disfigurement, all black and fierce with eyes of fire, ruthless and stern and swift to ire, some with jackal's jaw and nose, some faced like boars and buffaloes, some with the heads of goats and kine, of elephants and dogs and swine, with lions' lips and horses' brows, they walked with feet of mules and cows. Swords, maces, clubs, and spears they bore, in hideous hands that reeked with gore, and, never sated, turned afresh to bowls of wine and piles of flesh. Such were the awful gods who stood round Sita in that lovely wood, while in her lonely sorrow she wept sadly 'neath a spreading tree. He watched the spouse of Rama there, regardless of her tangled hair, her jewels stripped from neck and limb, decked only with her love of him. Canto 18. Ravan. While from his shelter in the boughs the banner looked on Rama's spouse, he heard the gathered giants raise the solemn hymn of prayer and praise. Priests skilled in rite and ritual who the Vedas and their branches knew. Then as loud strains of music broke his sleep, the giant monarch woke. Swift to his heart the thought returned of the fair queen for whom he burned, nor could the amorous fiend control the passion that absorbed his soul. In all his brightest garb arrayed, he hastened to that lovely shade, where glowed each choicest flower and fruit, and the sweet birds were never mute, and tall deer bent their heads to drink on the fair streamlet's grassy brink. Near that Ashoka grove he drew 100 dames his retinue, like Indra with the 1,000 eyes, girt with the beauties of the skies. Some walked beside their lord to hold the chowries, fans, and lamps of gold. And others purest water bore in golden urns and paste before. Some carried, piled on golden plates, delicious food of dainty cates. Some wine in massive bowls whereon the fairest gems resplendent shone. Some by the monarch's side displayed, wrought like a swan, a silken shade. Another beauty walked behind, the sceptre to her care assigned. Around the monarch gleamed the crowd, as lightnings flash about a cloud, and each made music as she went, with Joan and tinkling ornament. Attended thus in royal state, the monarch reached the garden gate, while gold and silver torches fed, with scented oil, a soft light shed. He, while the flame of fierce desire burned in his eyes like kindled fire, seemed love incarnate in his pride, his bow and arrows laid aside, his robe from spot and blemish free, like umbrage foamy from the sea, hung down in many a loosened fold, inwrought with flowers and bright with gold. The banner from his station viewed, amazed the wondrous multitude, where in the centre of that ring of noblest women stood the king, as stands the full moon fair to view, girt by his starry retinue. Canto 19. Sita's Fear. Then over the lady's soul and frame a sudden fear and trembling came, when, glowing in his youthful pride, she saw the monarch by her side. Silent she sat, her eyes depressed, her soft arms folded over her breast, and all she could her beauty screened from the bold gazes of the fiend. There, where the wild she-demons kept their watch around, she sighed and wept. Then, like a severed bough, she lay, prone on the bare earth in dismay, the while her thoughts on love's fleet wings flew to her lord, the best of kings. She fell upon the ground, and there lay struggling with her wild despair, sad as a lady born again to misery and woe and pain, now doomed to grief and low estate, once noble, fair, and delicate, like faded light of holy lore, like hope when all her dreams are over, like ruined power and rank debased, like majesty of kings disgraced, like worship foiled by erring slips, the moon that labours in eclipse, a pool with all her lilies dead, an army when its king has fled. So sad and helpless, wan and worn, she lay among the fiends forlorn. Canto 20. Ravan's Wooing. With amorous look and soft address, the fiend began his suit to press. Why wouldst thou, lady lotus-eyed, from my fond glance those beauties hide? Mine eager suit no more repel, but love me, for I love thee well. Dismiss, sweet dame, dismiss thy fear, no giant and no man is near. Ours is the right by force to seize what dames soever our fancy please. But I with rude hands will not touch a lady whom I love so much. Fear not, dear queen, no fear is nigh, come on thy lover's love rely. Some little sign of favour show, nor lie enamoured of thy woe. Those limbs upon that cold earth laid, those tresses twined in single braid, the fast and woe that wear thy frame, beseem not thee, O beauteous dame. For thee the fairest wreaths were meant, the sandal and the aloes scent, rich ornaments and pearls of price, and vesture meet for paradise. With dainty cates shouldst thou be fed, and rest upon a sumptuous bed. And festive joys to thee belong, the music and the dance and song. Rise, pearl of women, rise and deck with gems and chains thine arms and neck. Shall not the day my love be seen in vesture worthy of a queen? Methinks, when thy sweet form was made, his hand the wise Creator stayed, for never more did he design a beauty meet to rival thine. Come, let us love while yet we may, for youth will fly and charms decay. Come, cast thy grief and fear aside, and be my love, my chosen bride. The gems and jewels that my hand has reft from every plundered land, to thee I give them all this day, and at thy feet my kingdom lay. The broad rich earth will I overrun, and leave no town unconquered, none. Then of the whole an offering make to Janak, dear, for thy sweet sake. In all the world no power I see of God or man can strive with me. Of old the gods and Asurs set in terrible array I met. Their scattered hosts to earth I beat, and trod their flanks beneath my feet. Come, taste of bliss and drink thy fill, and rule the slave who serves thy will. Think not of wretched Rama, he is less than nothing now to thee. Stripped of his glory, poor, dethroned, a wanderer by his friends disowned, on the cold earth he lays his head, or is with toil and misery dead. And if perchance he lingers yet, his eyes on thee shall never be set. Could he, that mighty monarch who was named Hiranyakashipu, could he who wore the garb of gold win glory back from Indra's hold? O Lady of the lovely smile, whose eyes the sternest heart beguile, in all thy radiant beauty dressed, my heart and soul thou ravishest. What though thy robe is soiled and worn, and no bright gems thy limbs adorn? Thou unadorned art dearer far than all my loveliest consorts are. My royal home is bright and fair, a thousand beauties meet me there. But come, my glorious love, and be the queen of all those dames and me. End of Cantos 14 to 20.